I believe in a new brand of advocacy where we humble ourselves to our shortcomings and engage in acts of graceful revolution that bring light to the true reality of people's lives. I believe that if we engage people in their own spaces, teach them to look at injustices as moments that touch us all, if we give them the knowledge of the power structure and the tools to infiltrate its membrane, then change will take place in America. This is the graceful revolution. When I woke up for real later that morning after I read that in my sleep, my head exploded. I couldn't believe that that genius had come out of my head in the middle of the night. There is so much power there. This is going to be amazing, I thought. Who ever thought of putting the word grace together with the word revolution? That is so yummy, juicy, bold, and exciting. I am the leader of the graceful revolution. That is some badassery right there. And then I did what I usually do. This was in 2014. I waited for even more amazing things to come to me, and they didn't. It was just that one thing. The entire revolution. Grace, according to Merriam-Webster, is defined as unmerited divine assistance given humans for their regeneration or sanctification, a virtue coming from God, a state of sanctification enjoyed through divine grace. Revolution, according to Merriam-Webster, is defined as sudden, radical, or complete change, a fundamental change in the way of thinking or visualizing something, a sudden change of paradigm. Wowza! How come I had never thought of putting those two things together, I asked myself. Well, because the world wasn't ready for it, Missy. Now it is. What do I do with it, I asked myself. Well, you sit in it, you marinate in it, you bring it up here and there and see what resonates with people. So I blogged about it. I gave a talk about it in relation to reproductive justice. And then in the course of the 8 bazillion other things I'm doing, I let it go by the wayside. I forgot about the graceful revolution. Sure, it would pop up again in my classroom or random conversations. But for the most part, I put it away like the genius ideas I always have. And then the 2016 election happened. The desert is where I feel grounded and alive. It's where I feel like I'm flying and descending all at the same time. It's where I find my peace. It is delicious meditation, gratuitous imbibing, and wandering lust. There's a fork in the road. Toward the right, there's a gorgeous rock canyon, narrow, but with enough access that my Jeep can get through it no problem. It's nearly dusk. And there is an energy about that canyon. It makes all the hairs on my body stand on end. There's danger in that canyon. There is spirit in that canyon. It is dark and twisted, an unruly banshee spirit, manipulating me further into the narrowing, darkening canyon. The white rocks look like bleached out bone. Those rocks stand behind silvery green sage that's completely untamed. The red rock is rich and unspoiled by humanity. I want to experience it. I can't feel my father with me. He's gone. I slowly make my way down the canyon. Red and white striped boulders make up the walls that begin to close in on either side. My girlfriend, Michelle, looks at me with a look of trepidation. Can you feel it? Oh, yes, I respond. Something is watching us. I'm at home in the place that sets my soul ablaze and brings me to my knees with its glorious energy of magic and healing. I am entering a place that has not seen people in hundreds, maybe thousands of years. I feel death. I'm simultaneously terrified and excited. I want to keep driving. It's my dog Coco who stops me. I look in the rearview mirror to see if she's there because I can't hear her, and I think she must have fallen out. She's in the back seat. She stopped her exciting pacing back and forth, and she is sitting stock still. The hair on her neck is standing on end. She's sniffing the air. Her tail isn't moving. She is the sign I've been looking for. I love the Utah desert. It is the place of my ancestors. I used to take the top off my Jeep and drive for endless miles on the dirt roads until I was so lost to civilization, no one could find me. The minute I left the pavement, I would remove my seatbelt, lean forward in glorious anticipation, barely breathing as I climbed hills and boulders, searching up the edge of my hood, drop after precipitous drop to make sure I wasn't going to roll or tumble off a cliff. I could feel my dead father's steady hand on my shoulder, gripping me with giddy anticipation. His presence was so real sometimes, I would glance in the rearview mirror and imagine that I could see his smiling face. The desert is where I feel grounded and alive. It's where I feel like I am flying and descending all at once. It's where I find my peace. It's been 7 years since I have set my foot in the Utah desert. 7 years since I've been home to the place that sets my soul ablaze and brings me to my knees with its glorious energy of magic and healing. My 40s, the chapter of this book is called Freedom. She broke me. I nearly died, but I'm free. I could literally feel the wings growing out of my back. I could feel them growing, so I tattooed a giant phoenix. Start over. My 40s. The chapter in this part of the book is called Freedom. She broke me. I nearly died, but I'm free. I could literally feel the rings growing out of my back. I could feel them growing, so I tattooed a giant phoenix where the wings would be. Because I had been ashes and I was rising. I am becoming the bird I was born to be. I am not the typical dull female bird. You know, the one who's brown and unassuming? I am a glorious rainbow of turquoise, glistening amazement. I am blossoming, radiant, flushed out bird. I am sex and sass and badassery. I am a fucking glorious, glistening, bright bird. I am good and whole and divine. I am light and radiance and a glowing prism of iridescent feathers that change color if you look at them from a different angle. I am free to rise. I am free to bloom. I am free to claw my way out of the dirt and grab onto the earth as if she is my savior. I am free to stand in all of my glory and stretch my arms to the heavens while rippling the muscles on my back just as my wings jut out in all of their delicious, expansive glory. I am the bird girl, and this is my graceful revolution.